This is my culture speech. When people hear the word culture, what do they think of? They might think of the beliefs of a person, and others might think it's just where a person came from. According to the article Human Organizations, culture is defined as behaviors learned and shared by a group of people. Since there are so many different groups of people in the world, clearly that means that there's different cultures. Today in my speech, I'll be talking about the American culture. The three parts of the American culture I'll be talking about is food, sports, and holidays. I'll first start off by talking about the food of the American culture. The food of America came from the Europeans and Native Americans. The foods that are known as American foods are like hamburgers, hot dogs, and chips. Another thing I'll talk about is how in America the different foods are split up in different regions. So like the Southerners are more known for the home-cooked meals like cornbread, green beans, corned beef, and foods along that just make you feel like you're at home. In the Northern, it's more of eating out and not the home-cooked meal, more outdoorsy, eating out foods. The final thing I'll be talking about is how American foods are a mixture of different cultured foods. Like we have Mexican food, we have Italian food, German food, all different types of food. This is pretty cool because if you come to America, you can have all different types of food and you're not just limited to one. This is just a little bit about the food aspect of the American culture. The second part of the American culture I'll be talking about is the sports. The world of sports is huge in America. Everywhere you go, you'll hear about the word sports. Some of the sporting events like the World Series and the Super Bowl are some of the biggest events that go on in America. And even if you don't play a sport, you might watch it, and a lot of people do play the sport, which means it has a big impact on our lives. It's a big part of people's entertainment and just everyday activity. This is just a little bit about sports when it comes to American culture. Third and final thing I'll be talking about the American culture is I'll be talking about the holidays. There are a lot of holidays that are celebrated all over the world, but the great thing is America has their own holidays that are just celebrated here. Some of these holidays are like Veterans Day, the 4th of July, and Labor Day. These holidays are just the holidays that are here in America. But there's also ones that aren't celebrated here in America that are celebrated in other places. An example of this would be Mexico celebrates Cinco de Mayo. The great thing about these holidays is it's a time for people to get together and hang out, but it also describes the history of where we came from. And that just is pretty cool. And it's also a time for people to get together, hang out, family come together, and just talk and build those relationships, which is a great part, and I love doing that. That's just a little bit about how the American culture when it comes to holidays. That brings me to the end of my speech. Let me review with you the few things I talked about in the past 3 minutes. I talked about the American culture when it comes to food, sports, and holidays. It is clear we see how aspects of American culture is acquired in America. It is interesting to learn about the culture. I clearly know a lot, but it's cool to go into depth and learn about the different aspects. And all these things that make the American culture up are what make me who I am.